Margaret Chen had worked the same diner counter for 11 years, and in those 11 years, she had learned one thing above all else. People only notice what they want to notice. She had watched businessmen ignore crying children, seen teenagers scroll through their phones, while elderly strangers struggled with heavy doors, and witnessed dozens of small cruelties dressed up as simple indifference. But nothing had prepared her. For the morning that 7-year-old, Lily walked into her diner and changed something deep and permanent. Inside her chest, Lily came in every Saturday with her mother, a tired-looking woman named Susan, who always ordered black coffee and scrambled eggs and wore the particular expression of someone carrying a weight that never fully left her shoulders. Lily was small for her age, with large, dark eyes that moved constantly, absorbing everything around her with a quiet intensity that Margaret had always found oddly moving. What Margaret had not known, not for the first 3 Saturdays they came in, was that Lily was deaf. She found out the way she found out most things in the diner, by accident. A new waitress named Carla had called out Lily's name from across the room, and when the little girl didn't turn, Carla had muttered something thoughtless and unkind under her breath. Something about the child being rude. Susan's face had gone tight in that specific way that mothers' faces go tight when someone wounds their child, and she had quietly explained that Lily couldn't hear her. Carla had simply nodded and walked away, and Margaret had watched Susan look down at her coffee with that familiar expression, not anger, not even sadness exactly, but the exhausted resignation of a woman who had stopped expecting anything different. That evening, Margaret went home and did something she had never done before in her 53 years on this earth. She opened her laptop and began learning American Sign Language. She told herself it was nothing. Just a small thing, just a few basic words, just hello and thank you and how are you, just enough to be polite. But something happened when her fingers began to form. Those first awkward shapes in the glow of her screen. Something cracked open. She practiced every night that week. Her arthritic fingers slow and clumsy at first. Her reading glasses perched low on her nose as she followed, along with tutorial videos, whispering the meanings to herself in the quiet of her apartment. She learned good. Morning and welcome. And what would you like today? And you are wonderful, and I see you. That last one she practiced the longest, her fingers moving through it again and again, until it felt less like a phrase and more like a promise. The following Saturday, Susan and Lily came in at their usual time, 9:15, sliding into the corner booth by the window. Margaret waited until they were settled, until Susan had wrapped both hands around her coffee mug and Lily had arranged her crayons across the table in the precise way she always did, by color, lightest to darkest. Then Margaret walked over, and instead of speaking, she raised her hands. Her signing was imperfect and slow, her fingers stumbling over the shapes the way a child stumbles over new words. But she signed, "Hello, Lily, good morning. I am happy you are here." The effect was immediate and extraordinary. Lily's crayon dropped from her fingers. Her great dark eyes went wide, and for one suspended moment she simply stared, as if Margaret had performed some impossible magic, as if the ordinary world had suddenly revealed a hidden door. And then Lily's hands flew up, moving in a rapid, joyful torrent that Margaret could not follow at all. And for the first time since Margaret had known her, Lily was laughing. Not just smiling, actually laughing. A bright, soundless laugh that shook her small shoulders and lit her face from the inside. Susan pressed a hand over her mouth and turned toward the window, but not before Margaret saw her eyes fill. Margaret laughed too, a little helplessly, and signed the only honest thing she could manage. "I don't understand yet, but I am learning for you." She had brought a small notepad, and Lily seized it immediately and began drawing and writing in the fast, emphatic way of a child who had been waiting a very long time for someone to truly listen. They sat together for 2 hours that morning, Margaret and Lily, communicating in a patchwork of imperfect signs and scribbled pictures and delighted laughter, while Susan drank 4 cups of coffee and said almost nothing at all, because for once, she did not need to translate her daughter's worth to a world too busy to look. From that Saturday forward, Margaret kept learning. She downloaded apps, borrowed books from the library, watched videos on her lunch breaks. She was slow and she was imperfect, and she never stopped making mistakes. But every week she knew a little more. And every week, Lily arrived at that corner booth with her crayons already in her hand, already waiting, already certain that someone in this loud and careless world had decided she was worth the effort of learning a new language. And she was right. She always had been. If this story moved your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner Stories, where every week we bring you the kind of kindness the world needs more of.